Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our Friday live question and answer class, where you can ask me questions regarding American English pronunciation, intonation, American accent, anything that will help you to improve your overall communication in English. I appreciate all of those of you who have subscribed to the channel, and also especially those of you who've joined as members. It's wonderful to see the support. You've had so many great suggestions for our Word of the Day series. You've been coming regularly to our Friday classes and asking great questions. It really helps me know what videos to make for you, what topics to talk about in our classes, and what additional free materials to add to my website, speechmodification.com. So thank you and welcome. If you're new, welcome to you as well. And do feel free to ask your questions at any time in the comments. I'll go through and answer them and talk about the things that come up as a result. So we have a question from Sherry about the pronunciation of perpetuity and dumbbells. So let's look at both of those. So first of all, perpetuity is somewhat matches, the pronunciation somewhat matches the spelling here. So perpetuity has third syllable stress. So the two syllable is long and has the clear oo vowel. The first syllable per is basically vowel with a p. If you find that challenging, you might want to start with the sound and then add your p. So per. This E in the middle says perpetuity. It is a schwa, or you might also say an I there, like an perpetuity. The most important thing is that it's a light, short, relaxed vowel sound. So perpetu, and then it's basically like the word it, actually the word, not it, because we don't really say the T there. We do more of a flap. So it sounds like itty. And this is a suffix that we have talked about many times in many of our word of the day words, because we often end words with itty. And the challenge there is that I have to go from the lax I sound to the tense E sound with a little flap in between. So practicing on itty, especially in words like city, pretty, quality, perpetuity, is really going to help you with these longer words that end in ity. It's a challenging combination. This T here, we say as a T. It's a part of the stressed syllable, so it comes out with a puff of air. To. This one, more of a D, perpetuity. And then your second word was the word dumbbells. And dumbbells is, I think that has two B's. No, maybe not. Let's see, I'll have to look how you spelled it. Yeah, you spelled it with one, dumbbells. But it's basically like the word dumb and the word bells put together. It's a compound word, which means it has first syllable stress, but because it's a compound word, I want to make sure that I stress both syllables. I don't want it to be like in the word dumber or dumbest, where I would be long and then very short and unstressed, dumber. In this case, dumbbells. I have to make sure that I have enough length and a clear vowel on the second syllable as well. This is true for compound words that are one word and also compound nouns that are two-word phrases. So dumbbells has vowel schwa, the sound. And then we don't say on the word dumb, we don't say the B. So we just have for the first syllable dumb, and then we say the B for the second syllable. We have the red tent vowel. And the letter S says the Z sound in dumbbells because the L is voiced. And so plurals where we have a voiced sound, when we add the S, it says Z, dumbbells. Excuse me. I just sneezed a moment ago from allergies, so I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a runny nose. Okay, Rose has a question. She would like to know about the word mentor. So I just said that now with a clear T, mentor. There's a couple of different pronunciations for mentor. So I can say it it always has first syllable stress. And I may use a clear or here, mentor, mentor. Or you can also hear people saying it as mentor, mentor. So if someone is my mentor, as a noun, I'm going to be more likely to use that or. And if I'm going to mentor somebody in something, I may use it more as an sound. Let's check this one in the dictionary because I feel like I hear different pronunciations for it, and I want to see what the dictionary has to say about whether or not that's acceptable. So if you've been watching for a while, you know that I like the Oxford Learner's Dictionary because it has the British English as well as the American English. And it also uses the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet symbols, which is the same symbols that I use on my website. And so this is saying mentor with an or. So it doesn't have the mentor with an pronunciation. I think that may come from fast speech where we sometimes reduce or to For example, the word for will say I did it for you. We reduce that to a for instead of a for. So that might be what's happening here with mentor as well. I'm going to mentor you. Although this is saying the noun. So let's look here. You can see mentor noun. Let's look at mentor. Oh, mention verb. Mentoring noun. I want to see the verb form of mentor. I guess in mentoring. All right, so I'm not seeing the verb form. All right, so I guess we'll leave that as a slightly unanswered question, but that was a good question. Thank you, Rose. And Rose also asked us about how to do not yet in fast speech. So I will get more information on mentor, but not yet, not yet. I would say in not yet, we basically just use two stopped T's there. So I don't say not yet. I don't link because yeah is a glide. So basically when a word ends in T and the next word starts with a vowel, I'll link them and use a flap sound. But when the next word starts with a consonant, like the y glide, I use a stop. So I say not, my tongue goes up, and yet, my tongue goes up, and I don't release them. I can say not yet with a little T on the second one. Unlikely that I would use a released T on that. So not yet. Yeah, often that phrase is said by itself because you're answering a question about when something's done. And you would use that stop in both cases. Okay. Let's see, we have another question. Oh, you had one more, Rose. Let's get to that one. It was the word dosage. So dosage has first syllable stress and it has a clear O vowel. So we would see that like this in the dictionary. Dosage. We have the S does say S in this word. And then dosage. I would say that's probably either a schwa, dosage, or dosage. It doesn't matter too much. I probably use the lax I there a little bit more. And then the GE has our J sound. So it would be kind of like do, and then the little bit of a sige sound, dosage. Okay, thank you for your requests and questions. Hi, Astrid, nice to see you. She wants to know about the word patio. Astrid, that has the flap T in the middle, like we were talking about in class this week, where it sounds more like a D. So I'm going to have the A vowel, that's our black cat, the open A, pa. So just like the word pad, P-A-D, pad, and then the E-O is two syllables. So pad, E-O, pad, patio with first syllable stress, patio. That was a good question. Thank you. And Ricardo would like to know about the word nurture, also barely and bureaucracy. So Ricardo, I'm going to cover your first two words, and then I'll come back and revisit some if I have time. We've been having great attendance lately, and so sometimes I'm not getting to everyone's words. So I'm going to prioritize, and then if I have time, I'll do all of everyone's words. So your first two words, you had nurture. Yeah, that's a tough one. So nurture has basically two sounds. So that's what is going to shape the rest of the word. I want to make sure my is ready to go, back and tight. So start on your and then add your n. Ner. Same thing. Chur. This T says the CH sound. It has first syllable stress. So building it from the nurture. Figure out where the struggle is. Is it that I have to do two in a row? Is it going from the ch to the that's how you're going to build that sound. And then eventually nurture, a long and a shorter Both have the same tongue position. This one is just held longer. Then you also asked for the word barely. So barely has the air diphthong, just like the word air, there, and where. Sorry, I didn't write that very well. Let's try that again. Air, like the air we breathe. So bear, this kind of bear is the same as bear. Those two are the same. They both have the air diphthong. And then the lee is just a tense E vowel, barely, first syllable stress. If you have trouble doing the air, just try that slowly. Air, gliding into your tight position again, and then releasing out into the lee, barely. Okay, and I'll come back to bureaucracy if there's time at the end. You can remind me later on. So we have another question about the word yield. Oh, yeah, that's a tough one. Did you ask me before about year? I was just thinking about year and year recently. We've covered that now a couple of times, but yield is the same pattern where I have the y sound and then the E, tense E vowel, and this combination is challenging for some people. So what you might think about is doing your y in a word like yes or yesterday, where you get used to the y feeling. It's a glide from the E to the ya. And then I have to go back to my E, which is what makes it tough. So ye. And then yield. Basically, I have a dark L there. It has a little bit of a schwa before it. And then I have to go to the D. So you may also find that the O is hard. About this in a lot of our videos that have a dark L at the end of the word. You want to lift the front of your tongue and keep the back of your tongue more in the schwa, the position. Yield. It's a tough word for sure. Good suggestion. Thank you. Okay, let's take a look. We have, a pronunciation of Spurtnev Gulag. I don't know about the first part of that because it's a place name and I'm not positive. Based on the spelling, I would say it's probably Spurtnev or Spertnev. That would be how an American would pronounce it. But depending on where that is, you would look at more of a local pronunciation. And then gulag has a tense u and the open ah, gulag. Okay. Sandra would like to know about mirror. And Sandra, I'll let you know that we just recently covered this in our word of the day list. So if you want a more expansive explanation for mirror, after class, go to the channel page and use the search box and type in mirror and you can see that word of the day video, or you can go to the word of the day playlist and you'll find it. It was just within the last month or so. So mirror has the ear diphthong in the first part, and it has just an for these letters OR. And so the spelling might be part of what's challenging. And then of course, going from ear to is quite hard, double sounds. So just trying the ear and then mirror. That's the same as this word, mirror, like a mere fraction of something. Mirror. So getting that first, ear, and just staying back there in that tight back position to go between the two is typically the best way to do it. I talk about that more and walk you through that a little bit in the word of the day video for mirror. Thank you for your request. So the meaning of shallow, we're going to focus more on pronunciation today. Shallow is just the opposite of deep, so not very much. Nice to see you, Alan. Hello. Jose would like to know why the phrase not at all sometimes sounds like not it all. So what happens with our ah vowel, when I say the ah by itself, if I'm saying a word like apple, or I'm saying the word, a single word and I'm really stressing it, at, I'm going to be very open on the ah. But in connected speech, often that vowel ah gets a little bit closed and it might be closer to an eh or an ih. If we look at the shape of those vowels and how we make them, let's take a quick look at that. We have these front vowels, eh like did, eh like red, and ah like cat. So the at, as I was saying, is open. This is represents the front side of my mouth. If I say, for example, bid, bed, bad, they're all relaxed vowels and my jaw is opening a little bit more for each. So if I'm saying that was bad, I'm really going to be all the way open for the ah. But if I say, oh, I was at the store, I'm not really stressing on the ah, so I'm not using the clear vowel. It gets reduced and becomes more like at the store, like more in the central or even up to the I sound. So if you're noticing, not at all, not at all. What you're noticing there is that there's a reduction. So I'm not doing not at all. It's too much movement. It's not easy and fluent speech. So my ah becomes more of an eh or an I. Not at all, not at all. I also link there, so it kind of ends up sounding like na, did. I'm going to use the eh, not at all. These T's link to the next words and they become a flat. So not at all, not it at all, not at all, not at all. That's just a function of in fluent speech. Unstressed words, unstressed syllables sometimes have a reduced vowel. And ah is one of the ones that gets reduced. We just don't open the mouth as far. That's a very good observation. We talk about these kinds of reductions on our Real Talk playlist and in our Real Talk course on speechmodification.com. So those of you who are a little bit more advanced and are looking at, why do I hear something different than how those words should be pronounced? Single words by themselves are pronounced differently than how we use them in real speaking, real speech. So those videos and that course helps you break down some of those patterns so that you can match what you're hearing with the actual spoken word and see how it's different from the written words. Thank you for that comment. I think that's probably useful for other people as well. I'm sure other people hear that and had that same kind of question. Great, thank you. So Alan would like to know how to pronounce thirsty. Yeah, that's a good one. So thirsty, I'm thirsty, has the IR spelling, but it has the ER sound. So that's similar to words like third or bird. We spell the ER sound with IR, UR, EAR. There's many ways we can spell it, but it's just an a tight back American R. When I have a video about the word third, THER words, basically the is going to be more important. You want to start with your and then just bring the tongue forward to get the TH sound. So my tongue needs to be between my teeth for the TH, but if I start there and then I try to pull back for the I may find that it comes out more like thirsty instead of thirsty, So start with your and then try to add your TH. Thir. Set up your tongue for success with that And then I have to add my next syllable. So thir is stressed in this word, and then sti is light and unstressed. Basically, it has a tense E vowel, thirsty. Is that making anyone else thirsty? Okay, thank you. That was a good question. We have a request for the word elderly. So that has first syllable stress, a tight and then again, back to our lead. So I'm going to build that from the end. And so you may just want to, again, start with your so you can get that correct. Der, elder, elderly. Yeah, that's a good one. I think we've talked about that and similar words in our Word of the Day series lately. Okay, Astrid would like to know about maturity. So maturity, we have, again, maturity. We're coming back to our ity, our itty ending with the flap, right? The tu in this word sounds like a cher, like a chur. And then we have second syllable stress. So the ma in this word doesn't say a sound like an a, it says the schwa. So maturity. I just talked about some similar words in the video I was making for the Word of the Day series. So you'll see some other examples of that tu saying the ch sound. Good. So hi, Olvi. She would like to have some help with the word ambiguity. Yes, let's look at that word. Ambiguity. So there's our itty ending again. Again, when I can practice words with the same prefixes, suffixes, it helps me with other similar words. So Olvia is saying that she doesn't hear the U part of ambiguity. So let's break it down. So we have ambiguity. So you're hearing just gu, ambiguity. So what you want to think about is that, yeah, we do need that U, that glide y sound, or it's going to sound strange. So maybe build it from the word you. So try you, and then see if you can go from the G to the y sound, gu. If you have to go slowly, you, gu, big U, ambiguity. That's where our stress is. So you have time to make sure you get all those sounds on that stress syllable. The others are shorter and unstressed. This is the lax sound, ambiguity. Good. I want to go back to, we had an earlier question since I've been taking multiple words from people, and I think we'll have time. Ricardo wanted to know about bureaucracy. So that's a similar word that also has the y sound. So bureaucracy. So we have, again, the b. So bure. You can do a bure, like a ur, same u that we had in Olvia's word, or I tend to reduce that just to a ur. So an ur. I would start with that to build and then add my b. Ur, bure. So you might find that to be kind of strange. You might have more of a tendency to say bureaucracy or bureaucracy. This y glide needs to be there. So bure, and then we have pure. The is stressed, so this is shorter in this word, unlike in Olvia's word, the glide was stressed. Bureaucracy. So we have a schwa here and a tense e at the end. The letter C says the S sound. So bureaucracy. That's not that easy for me to say either. So breaking it down, doing each syllable, the sounds, figuring out where the word falls apart for you and where you find it challenging, and then building it up into the word and finally into phrases is going to be how to build that. And just go slowly enough to get the sounds. I have to do that when I'm saying that word because of the multiple R's. And the bure is kind of a strange combination of sounds. It doesn't flow very easily or naturally, even for native speakers. Okay, thank you for waiting for your third word, Ricardo. I hope you're still here. All right, let's see. We have some more questions I haven't gotten to. Jose wants to know the difference between the like in red tent, and the Spanish e. So the vowel in red is a lax vowel, and the Spanish vowel is a tense vowel. This one is closer to the American a, because the first part of your Spanish a is the same as the first part of a. In English words, like if I have the word raid, I have a diphthong. So two vowels, a, it has to be longer. It starts on the Spanish a, and then I relax a and close and go to more of that lax front vowel. The is just one sound. So the main difference here is tense versus lax, which may or may not be something you can easily feel. But what you want to feel is if you're saying the Spanish, it's going to sound to American listener maybe like the a. We don't do this vowel by itself in American English. We either make it into a or into air. And so if you say it by itself, it's somewhat similar to the it's just tense instead of lax. A similar difference would be the e, as in leave, is tense, and the as in live, is lax. So if you check out my video for the vowel, I'll give you some contrast words like raid and red that can help you hear those differences. And just know that this vowel that you use in Spanish, we don't use it in English by itself. It always glides into something else. I hope that helped you out. It can be tricky because when you have a vowel in your native language, it affects how you hear the American vowels as well. So it may be hard for you to hear those differences. And I may not be modeling the Spanish exactly right because of my accent. But that's basically what's happening there is those different vowels, the tenseness, laxness, and whether or not there's two sounds or just one sound. My individual vowel videos for each of those vowels should help you out. Great, thank you for that question. That was a good request. Okay, we have a number of other questions. One would be the vowels in bad, bed, and bird. Okay, so that kind of relates to what we were just talking about. So bad is our open vowel. That's in like cat. It's the most open here. That's in bad. In bed, we're more medial, more closed. That's the vowel we were just talking about. And then bird, is the tight American R sound, If you're thinking about bid, the letter I, that's just more closed and relaxed. So I would say bid, bed, bad. And then bird, the letter I is part of the ER sound, which is, this is the symbol for it, but it's more central, Good question. Okay. Question about when to use the symbol and, that just means and, so that's an abbreviation you can use. We had a request for the word generous. Let's look at that. Generous. So basically, we have first syllable stress there. That's our red tent vowel, generous. And then we have an and finally the word lax us, generous. And you may hear that Americans will say this with three clear syllables. He's very generous. And they may reduce it a little bit. Generous, generous. These two run together a little bit. It almost sounds like two syllables. A very generous person. So great, Ovi, I'm glad that helped you. The difference between color with OR and color with OUR is just British and American spelling. Americans spell it with OR, British spells it with OUR. Astrid is saying that I made the pronunciation easier than looking at the dictionary. Happy to do that. I think in combination with looking at the dictionary, of course, I want you guys to keep coming to class, keep asking questions. I want to keep explaining. I also want you to, if you can't wait for Friday, have some resources in how to use the dictionary to help you. So I like to model that as well. But do keep coming and keep asking. I'm happy to answer those questions. We have a question about the difference between and schwa. Yeah, this is a very common accent error pattern. So many people, when they're doing the schwa sound, like in such and fun, will instead do more of an like not and hot. So just like we were talking about with the Spanish and red tent, schwa is a lax vowel. So my tongue should be resting in the middle of my mouth. It has no tension. It's not up, down, forward, back. It's just kind of floating there with my jaw slightly open. Versus my mouth is more open and my tongue is pushing down towards the bottom, and that's more of a tense vowel sound. So example words would be for the schwa, nut, N-U-T, and for the not, nut, not, hut, hot, such. There's no word such, but you can hear that when I'm doing I have to use more tension in you can see that my mouth is more open. I do have videos for each of these and some help with those types of minimal pairs on speechmodification.com and the free practice. I'm also working on a video that's going to be specifically about the schwa versus the sound to help you out, because that is definitely a pattern that many people need help with. They have a tendency to, in your native language, you probably have an and you may or may not have that more relaxed schwa, the sound. All right, so we had a request for enthusiastic. Apparently I missed your request. Sorry about that. And I don't know if you saw my comment. Recently you asked about some words that you had requested a while ago, and some of them are now coming up. But if you've made a request on the Word of the Day series and you haven't seen your video yet, it's just because I'm still working on requests from back in August, and I will be getting to yours. We've just had a lot of people asking and requesting. So sorry I missed your word enthusiastic. Let's cover it now. So enthusiastic has enthusiastic. Stress on the syllable. That's a clear vowel, like in black cat. And the E in this word sounds more like an like in the word in, because it's unstressed and short. Enthu, the U says the tense oo vowel, enthu. This S says a Z. And we have the E, tense E, enthusiast with an S sound, and then tick, again, back to our lax vowel and a K sound at the end. So enthusiastic. I'm very enthusiastic about all the great questions today. Thank you so much. Hi, Sid. Nice to see you all the way here from Hong Kong. Must be pretty late your time. Hi, nice to see you, Sadie. Sushil, if you have a question, feel free to ask it. I'm still listening and answering questions. Okay, the next question was for the word espresso, how to pronounce it correctly. So yeah, sometimes you'll hear people saying it with more of an X sound, and that's incorrect. So espresso has just the S. Espresso. Let's write it out for everyone. Espresso. So the first sound, espresso, is a second syllable stress. And so this first sound is either like an like red tent, or even a schwa, like espresso. It's short and unstressed. Espress. And then we have a tense, not tense, a lax but it's longer because it's the clear vowel. So just like the word press, espresso. And then we just end in our O, espresso. But be patient and forgiving if people have a different pronunciation for that. They may have heard it a different way. And it's, again, you'll hear native speakers doing a variety of different pronunciations, and you'll hear them making errors. So sometimes they aren't always the best model. Using a dictionary for a resource and a reference is great. When I try to teach about differences, I'll tell you what you might hear from American speakers that is correct. There's multiple ways sometimes that are correct. Sometimes there are many words that Americans or native speakers mispronounce or pronounce differently. So you may hear not always the best models around you as well. Yeah, so okay, so we have another request from Nadine. She wants to know about comfortable and beautiful. So I'm gonna, because we're running short on time, I'm gonna let you know that comfortable is a video or is a word that I have a video for. So after class, I'll put it in the comments for this video, and you can find a good explanation of that word. It takes a little time to, again, that's something that there's a couple of different ways to pronounce it correctly, and it doesn't really match how it's spelled. So Americans do some different things on that. So I'll direct you to that video. And then your word beautiful is just like we were talking about, again, with our glide, our y sound. We have the bew. It sounds like the word you and then a b. You, bew. This T becomes more of a D. Bew, diffful, and then we have a schwa at the end. So first syllable stress, beautiful. And we have our dark ol at the end of that. Okay, a couple more questions, and then I'm going to need to wrap up for today. Thanks so much, everyone, for the great questions and for sticking with for this long class. We've had some just really great topics today. So we have a question. Is the vowel eh of red as tense as the e? So the eh of red is lax, and the I is lax as well. So if I have the eh vowel is a lax vowel. So we have I, and a. Those are all lax front vowels. The e is a tense vowel, and the a is a tense that goes into a lax vowel. So inside this red part of the quadrangle, those are all the lax sounds, like schwa is in there as well. Okay, hi Saeed, nice to see you. Okay, Sushil, if you have a question later, you know that I respond to comments, and I have a couple of your words coming up in the Word of the Day series, as well as I know you have a few requests out there that I have yet to get to, but I still have them in my list, so I'll be covering them. Somebody's telling me that I skipped their request. I don't see, I do think I answered actually all of your questions, AA Ducky. So go back and check. If you have a specific request that you think I skipped, type it again, but I did cover all of your questions. We're trying to focus more on pronunciation, so I went rather quickly through a couple of your questions because they weren't pronunciation related, but I did answer them. All right, we have a request for vulnerable. Just like the word comfortable, I have a video for that, and so I'm going to direct you to check that out. So go to, when you on the either on the website, speechmodification.com, I'll show you that. And also just here on YouTube, you can use the search features. So if you're on speechmodification.com, where you want to go is the free practice and the online practice free trial. And then you can use the search box here. So I could type in, for example, we had the question about comfortable, and the lesson related to that information will come up. So I'll go ahead and search that. And okay, that one isn't on the on the search site, so you'll have to use it on YouTube, but I do have a search box on my channel page as well. And then the question for the word vulnerable, I believe that's on here. Again, I do have a video for that as well. So let's see if that's, yeah, so you can see things related will come up, how to pronounce vulnerable. I can click on that lesson and I'll see my YouTube video for vulnerable. So thank you so much for those requests, and do come back again next week and ask if the video doesn't cover it for you. If you're watching this as a replay, you can leave questions in the comments and I'll direct you to how to find those particular videos you're asking for, as well as related lessons for the different sounds that might be coming up for you. Do also, while you're on speechmodification.com, check out on our store page. We have a lot of free downloads and free resources for you. And what you can see there are some accent error pattern guides. You can see that vowel chart that I was showing you to talk about some of people's vowel questions. I have a quick study guide there for you on the vowel sounds, as well as one on all of the sounds of English. And then you might want to check out our, here where it says free downloads, you can find information about the accent error patterns that tend to happen based on your native language. So this will give you example words and help you focus in on the words that you're having trouble with. Often are because they have sounds that are different in your native language than in English. And these will give you some starting places for which vowel sounds, which consonant sounds to start working on and focusing on when you're practicing in English. Thanks so much, everyone. I really enjoyed having you all here today, and you have your wonderful questions. We have one person asking very politely for one more word, so we're going to cover really quickly the word unfortunately, and then we're going to sign off for today. So unfortunately, I don't have time to keep going all day, although it's a lot of fun, and I'd like to. So unfortunately has the second syllable stress. So that has that or. The or actually says or in this word, for. The T says CH, unfortunate. This is more like a little bit of an in, like the word chin, unfortunate. Again, an I sound. I use a stop T there and a li, not three E's. So unfortunately, chin or chun, this is either I or an sound, unstressed. So this word I would suggest practicing with the four syllable first, for, fortune, fortunately, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a tough one. Thanks for your request. Okay, thanks everyone for sticking with. It was a long class today. We'll be back again tomorrow with a live word of the day question, word of the day class. We'll be here on Sunday with our members only class. So those of you who are channel members, I hope to see you for that class. It'll be at 11 o'clock Seattle time on Sunday. And it's just like this class, but it's a smaller group. So we have a little more time for all of your questions. If you're not a member and you're interested in checking that out, you can click on the support this channel button in this video or the join button on the channel page or any of my other videos to see about options for membership. Thank you so much for those of you who are members, those of you who've been coming to class and asking the great questions. We'll also have our phrase of the week class on Sunday. So each Sunday we're talking about a different American English expression or idiom, telling you what it means and how to use it. And our word of the day series continues. So go ahead and ask your requests for that series and I'll cover your words in a specific video. Thanks, everyone. It was great to see you all today, and thanks for the wonderful questions. Sorry if I missed anyone. Let me know in a comment after, and I'll make sure to get an answer to you about your question. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.